Every great empire in Formula One has one truth. It doesn't rebuild itself willingly, it has to be forced into transformation. And whenever Ferrari has been dragged back to greatness, it wasn't by committee or culture, it was by a single driver who refused to play by Ferrari's rules. Michael Schumacher did it in 1996. And now, nearly 3 decades later, Lewis Hamilton is stepping into Maranello with the same mission: to break the system before the system breaks him. What we're witnessing isn't just another career move. It's the beginning of a power struggle that could redefine Ferrari all over again. Ferrari doesn't reinvent itself voluntarily. History proves it only evolves when someone storms the gates and forces change from within. That's the invisible thread tying Schumacher's arrival in '96 to Hamilton's move in 2025. When Schumacher first walked through Ferrari's doors, the team was messy. Scattered leadership, outdated methods, a culture clinging to nostalgia rather than innovation. He didn't simply drive the car, he reconstructed the entire operation piece by piece, dragging Ferrari into the modern era. Now reports confirm Hamilton has entered a Ferrari garage that feels just as fractured, riddled with conflicting agendas and quiet resistance. Ideas are blocked, setups are compromised, and performance is strangled by politics. The message is clear: if you're not molded by Ferrari, you must remake Ferrari. Schumacher succeeded in rewriting its identity for a decade. Hamilton is now in the middle of that same battle for survival. Schumacher's approach was ruthless. He didn't just sign a contract, he seized control. From day one, he refused to conform to Ferrari's dysfunction. Instead, Ferrari was reshaped to mirror him. He brought in Ross Brawn, his trusted strategist from Benetton, and insisted Rory Byrne reimagine the car. Schumacher wasn't content being the fastest man on track. He demanded authority over engineering, pit lane discipline, training, even simulator philosophy. Under his influence, every outdated habit was stripped away, and Ferrari was reborn into a machine that dominated an era. Now Hamilton is echoing that same defiance. Sources say he's already pressed for changes in telemetry interpretation, torque mapping, and simulator data loops. He isn't interested in compromise. His push for a redesigned hydraulic steering actuator sparked friction with the preferred setup, but he stood firm. Like Schumacher before him, Hamilton isn't being absorbed into Ferrari. He's the one doing the absorbing. 2 men, 2 generations, the same reality. Ferrari only wins when its driver takes command of the system itself. And just like Schumacher, Hamilton's presence hasn't been universally welcomed. In Schumacher's early days, Italian media branded him arrogant. Team insiders viewed him as an outsider disrupting sacred traditions. But Schumacher never argued. He simply let results crush resistance. Each time his demands clashed with Maranello's customs, he proved himself on track. When his unique driving style forced changes in chassis setup and tyre strategy, tension boiled, but every podium he delivered converted skeptics into believers. By the dawn of the 2000s, Ferrari was no longer Enzo's romantic dream, it was Schumacher's empire. Hamilton is now in that same position, pushing upstream against Ferrari's old ways. Outwardly, the team claims to embrace his expertise. Privately, leaks suggest otherwise. His steering modifications were stalled, his simulator priorities sidelined, and at Spa, his fuel call was ignored. What he's facing isn't open rejection but something more insidious: quiet sabotage, delayed actions, decisions buried under red tape. Yet Hamilton is responding exactly like Schumacher did. He speaks through pace, through tyre management, through relentless recovery drives. He doesn't demand authority with words. He creates fear of what happens when they deny him. Schumacher's reign created 2 parallel realities. The public saw a smiling champion bringing Ferrari back to life, but inside he was relentless. A perfectionist who interrogated strategies mid-race, cross-checked lap times against fuel projections, and demanded instant accountability. He wasn't simply receiving feedback, he was testing the entire team's competence. That pressure forged sharpness. Under his shadow, everyone knew mistakes would be exposed. Hamilton has triggered that same atmosphere in 2025. Engineers are reportedly running dual setups, one for Charles Leclerc, one for Hamilton, not out of preference but out of self-preservation. When Hamilton requested steering revisions at Spa, some staff deliberately kept his simulation data off the shared system. Why? because if his adjustments proved faster, it would unravel months of entrenched doctrine. One engineer allegedly admitted, "We were afraid his model would beat ours," and it did. Like Schumacher, Hamilton projects not just talent but expectation, and for those unable to keep up, it's intimidating. Ferrari's mythology is woven from legacy, Italian instincts, romantic tradition, and heritage painted in scarlet. But its history shows that victories only arrive when someone rewrites its DNA from scratch. In the late 90s, that was Schumacher. He dismantled the old rhythm of Italian spontaneity and replaced it with precision, punctuality, and methodical order. Meetings started on time. Data overruled intuition. Strategy was rehearsed until flawless. Schumacher didn't bend to Ferrari's culture, he bent Ferrari to his. And in doing so, he transformed tradition into dominance. Now Hamilton is forcing that same uncomfortable evolution. He isn't here to bask in Ferrari's past glory, he's here to repair its broken present. From torque map recalibrations to brake migration systems, Hamilton is demanding Ferrari abandon outdated comfort zones. His insistence on a new hydraulic steering response wasn't cosmetic tinkering. It was a revolution. Leaks confirm his version delivered sharper corner stability and fewer correction spikes. That wasn't a suggestion. It was a verdict. Just as Schumacher proved, Ferrari doesn't need nostalgia. It needs reinvention. And reinvention always begins with discomfort. Behind the gates of Maranello, two worldviews are colliding. One clings to hierarchy, the other to raw precision. And little by little, Hamilton's philosophy is taking the upper hand. Each setup change, each simulator override, each telemetry comparison is shifting the balance of power. History shows us this pattern. For Schumacher, the breaking point came in 1997. After months of inconsistent car handling, he demanded full authority over development. Engineers resisted, the media speculated, but when he won 5 races in a car that shouldn't have been competitive, Ferrari had no choice. They stopped trying to manage Schumacher and began following him. Hamilton's fracture point wasn't on track, it was in the simulator. After repeated pushback on steering and torque requests, he bypassed the normal chain of command and ordered direct telemetry overlays between his torque curve and Leclerc's. The outcome was undeniable. Hamilton's setup produced a smoother, quicker, more stable car. That leak spread across departments. Engineers began running fresh sims using his parameters without waiting for clearance. Suddenly, Leclerc's configuration was no longer the baseline. Hamilton's was. Ferrari didn't announce this shift. They never do. But when your second car is being tuned to one man's numbers, that's not assimilation. That's a takeover. Schumacher grabbed control through sheer authority. Hamilton is extracting it through accuracy. And the system feels the weight. Schumacher's war was with tradition. Hamilton's war cuts deeper. Ferrari is facing a champion who doesn't just break rules, but breaks images. A black British driver. Political, uncompromising, vocal in ways Ferrari has never embraced. Schumacher was feared for what he demanded. Hamilton is feared and scrutinized for everything. His radio messages, his silences, his simulator runs. Each one sparks debate not only inside Ferrari, but across the sport's identity. When Hamilton won the China Sprint, Ferrari's internal media barely acknowledged it. Why? Because he doesn't fit the brand's carefully curated image. He isn't Italian-made, he doesn't need Ferrari's badge to cement his legend. In fact, his presence forces the Scuderia to confront something it has avoided for decades, that success comes not from loyalty to tradition, but from loyalty to results. Sources inside Maranello say Hamilton's growing influence has already unsettled executives. They call it disruptive. But disruptive to what? To a structure that hasn't delivered a world championship since 2007? Like Lauda in the 1970s and Schumacher in the 1990s, Hamilton is dragging Ferrari toward the uncomfortable truth. And this time, the discomfort isn't just about engineering, it's cultural, it's global, and it's unavoidable. Ferrari loves legends, but only when they obey. Schumacher bent Ferrari to his will by force of dominance, and in return they gave him freedom. That pact delivered 5 straight titles. Hamilton is asking for the same, but his path is subtler. His inputs expose flaws. His steering overrides fix inconsistencies. His questions, once ignored, are now echoed by engineers in meetings. Leclerc may remain the Ferrari's poster boy, but Hamilton is quietly sketching the blueprints for the team's future, one built on evidence, not emotion. But here's the danger. Time is not on Ferrari's side. Every delayed update, every ignored strategy call, every let's hold position radio message erodes trust, not only Hamilton's, but the fans. Because if Ferrari won't back the most decorated driver in Formula One history, what does that reveal about their ambition? The whispers inside Maranello are growing louder. Engineers clutch their tablets tighter. Meetings are shorter. Simulator sessions stretch late into the night. Insiders noticed a shift after Spa. No big debriefs, no united team atmosphere, just fractured groups behind closed doors. 2 camps, 2 narratives, and at the centre, Hamilton. Gathering leverage lap by lap. He's seen this pattern before. First, they stall you. Then, they doubt you. Then they quietly adopt your ideas while pretending it was the system's doing all along. But Hamilton isn't waiting for recognition. He's recording. He's leading. And he's watching who follows. Because revolutions at Ferrari don't arrive with speeches or press releases. They arrive in silence, inside simulator data, in overlays, in setups that expose the truth. The real question isn't what Hamilton is building inside Ferrari. It's how Ferrari plans to respond. Because once a driver of his caliber shows you the weaknesses in your system, you can't unsee them. And from Monza onward, the battle won't be Red Bull versus McLaren. The real war will be fought under Ferrari's own red flag, inside its walls, in its meetings, in its divided garage.